Welcome to Buffalo Gameday Recap. I'm Thad Brown along with AJ Feldman after the Bills dispatched the Steelers 31-17. It looked easy, and then it looked like it might not be easy, and then they really kind of had control of this game at the end. And there wasn't a whole lot from this game that I walk away from that kind of changes me a lot. You know, this kind of felt like, okay, pretty much what I thought the Bills and the Steelers were going to do.
Yeah, you know, they played down to their competition a little bit. Obviously, they dealt with so many injuries in this game. I mean, if you look at their opening day roster, they were down their top 4 linebackers and their top 3 cornerbacks. That's basically an entire unit. So the resiliency they showed, fighting back, dealing with injuries, you know, AJ Klein, Dorian Williams stepping up, Cam Lewis. It was a cast of characters that really stepped up and got this win here.
Yeah, and that has been the theme of this team the last few weeks, you know, has been different guys making plays. I mean, last week it was, you know, Taylor Rapp and Trent Sherfield were the heroes. Today in this game, Kaiir Elam was one of the heroes. And this is after Elam made 2 poor plays, missing a tackle, really getting run over, and then the pass interference, which has become the hallmark of the Kaiir Elam career. He comes up with a huge interception that prevented points for the Steelers, turned into a touchdown drive for the Bills. You can argue it was a 14-point drive for Elam on that play. So, look, this has been who the Bills, talk about who their identity is, what their identity is. It has been lately finding anyone and everyone to make a play for this team.
Yeah, for all the Bills talk about McDermott culture, and we've debated whether culture is winning, winning is culture, yada, yada this, yada, yada that. The fact that these guys are able to step up does say something about the culture. If you want that to actually play out on the field, this is a situation where it plays out. Micah Hyde talked about it, the fact that since he's been here the 7 years or so, they have this culture where guys can play free. Guys aren't afraid to make mistakes. Look at Kaiir Elam. He makes mistake. He's not playing tentative. He's not, you know, getting back in his shell. He's going after that ball where you do have to be a little aggressive to make that interception. It didn't come right to him. I think that's a textbook example of what the Bills have preached, and then it turned out on the field today.
Elam talked about it too, that, you know, earlier in the season, that would have been a spot where he might have gotten down on himself. He would not have been ready to make that interception. And I don't know. I continue to look at this team and how they're built and their identity and wonder, okay, can this succeed in the next 3 games? Because this is really where the whole Bill season, the 18 games they've played so far, has all been leading up to this game coming up. We'll get into the Bills and Chiefs in a little bit. But can you succeed at that level where your hope is, well, man, I need Taylor Rapp and Kaiir Elam to make a play? Not that Josh Allen didn't do anything in this game. Not that the bigger name players didn't do anything. But I wonder, and I really have my doubts about whether or not this identity succeeds at the highest level. It's good that these guys are making plays, that there is a belief and an evidence and a resume that, hey, these guys can succeed if you need them to. But can you do it against Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, and the Niners, if that's what it comes to?
Yeah, the thing that helps out the Bills is that there is no team in this AFC playoffs that is perfect. You know, the Ravens are clearly the best team, but they haven't performed in the playoffs, this iteration of the Ravens team. They haven't done it so far in the postseason, Lamar Jackson. Kansas City is not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. So if you're going to get into these, you know, these dogfights, these dirty games, these ugly matchups, if you can have the coaching, the culture, the guys to step up, make plays, it hasn't been pretty most of these games on this winning streak as they're coming down the stretch. But, you know, if you can keep winning these coin flips, you can win a Super Bowl that way.
Totally agree. The dirty guy, the dirty play point, I think is a fantastic point for not only this Bills team, but this AFC. Let's talk about the offense for a minute. A few guys that stood out to me. Look, the Josh Allen 52-yard run, just ridiculous. Now, some of that I think is, you know, when you're a quarterback and defenses might be expecting you to slide, you know, might give you a little more of an advantage. But give Josh credit for making that work for him. And a number of guys, I talked to both Connor McGovern and Mitch Morse, and Sean McDermott said that Joe Brady brought this up. They were all like, Josh, get down, get down, get down, get down. And then he stays on his feet and runs for a touchdown. Look, the guy's just incredible. And the numbers were amazing, 200 yards, you know, a couple touchdowns again. I mean, good, you know, really good, but not, you know, crazy Josh Allen.
Here's a number for you.
0 interceptions.
0.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a sec, too. But, you know, when they need him to make a couple plays here and there, obviously 17 is also always good for it. Khalil Shakir's touchdown, to me, the most underrated trait on this Bills team is his ability after the catch. And he just doesn't get the opportunities for it. I thought he'd be, you know, a pretty good NFL punt returner. And I think if the Bills didn't bring Deontay Hardy in, who's got a pedigree as an all-pro guy, that Shakir to get more opportunities there. That guy can make plays after the catch. The third thing that kind of stood out to me offensively, second week in a row, maybe really third week, using Dalton Kincaid down the field. You know, getting him balls down the seam. We didn't see that hardly at all until Christmas. And lately it's become almost a repeated part of the offense. And if you can stretch the field with your tight end, it opens up so many other things for Stephon Diggs, run game, etc.
Yeah, it seems like they're kind of stumbling into ways to use Dalton Kincaid. Early in the season, he was kind of slow start to the season. Dawson Knox goes out, his production goes up. This time around, perhaps Gabe Davis being out of the lineup, he's maybe taking more of those routes, some of that route tree. They're getting more involved down the field. He was doing some of that while Davis was still in the lineup. But still, he's stepping up to the occasion. And your point on Shakir, not only is he making plays after the catch, he's catching the ball pretty much any dang time it gets thrown his way. Coming into this game, he had the highest catch rate per target of any wide receiver in the league. I'm sure it hasn't dropped off too much so far. So he's a reliable guy. He's a dependable guy, especially someone whose trait coming into this season, we were worried about the drops. He'd make a great play. He'd screw up on the easy one. Now he's kind of doing both.
Yeah, Shakir in preseason was having trouble with his hands. That has gone away. And you know what else has gone away? From the conversation we had for weeks about secondary receivers? Haven't heard that for weeks. There's a good reason why that is. You had an issue, though, with this offense a little bit with not being able to sustain offense in this game.
Yeah, they had the touchdown on the first drive of the game or early in the game. They got the one with Shakir to basically close things out. But in the middle there, they had the two long play touchdowns right off the turnover, Allen doing his magic. But in between that time, 6 drives where they didn't find the end zone. They let the Steelers hang around this game. It didn't end up costing them, largely because they had Mason Rudolph on the other side of the field. So it's one thing for those to, turn into punts or field goals, things of that nature. Luckily, it wasn't the turnovers which kept the Steelers in this game. But they were trying their darndest to make this one a game close, and luckily they found a way to pull this out in the end.
Like you said earlier, this is a team that wins games dirty, and that's part of it. To win dirty, you got to kind of make it dirty, and the Bills are doing it. As you pointed out earlier, though, one thing that did not happen in this game was the turnovers. And Josh Allen did a good job protecting the ball, had one throw over the middle of Stephon Diggs that was close to an interception, but no fumbles in this game, no interceptions. And look, the Bills didn't blow the Steelers out, but they ended up winning comfortably. And as I talked about in Thad's 3 things and during the week on Buffalo Kickoff Live, if the Bills can avoid turnovers, especially in these games where they are the more talented team, they're going to not only succeed, but succeed comfortably.
Yeah, and going forward, they're not going to be able to play this more conservative game where all you have to do is not turn the ball over late to win this one. But certainly having sustained, drive after drive after drive where, as the Bills like to say, ends in a kick, either a PAT, a field goal, or a punt, it certainly helps them moving forward.
Few referee discussions in this game, couple long reviews early. I thought they got them all right. I thought the fumble on George Pickens was a fumble. He 2 feet down with possession, makes a turn. That's a football move. And then the fumble. The one with Bale Inspector recovering near the sideline, I think the league felt like they weren't sure that the ball did not touch Pat Freiermuth's helmet as he was lying out of bounds. I thought that was the right call also. So, for all the talk about officiating being poor, there's always things you can kind of quibble with.
George Pickens is quibbling about some of
that. I know he is, and I don't know. That's why I kind of wanted to bring this up. He talked about later that, we can't beat the Bills and the refs at the same time. I know what you're talking about, brother, because this game seemed pretty reasonably officiated to me. You're not going to get everything 100% right. There's so much gray area when it comes to pass interference. I thought the Dalton Kincaid hold that Miles Jack drew was the right call. I thought Miles Jack's 15-yard penalty on that same drive was the right call. So there were so many things officiating-wise that were good. Also was the right call. Sean McDermott going for it with the Josh Allen sneak, 4th down in the second half, holding a lead. This is people want to pat him on the back for it. I think that's reasonable. But to me, these are almost no-brainers when you have Josh Allen and that quarterback sneak weapon.
Yeah, no issues with any of the challenges. I thought they both got him right as well. And, we talk about officiating all the time. It's, every single game officiating is a problem. Well, we should kind of acknowledge when it isn't a problem. And I agree with, McDermott going for that there. I do wonder what led to the punt team coming out in the first place. I don't know if that's just the punt team,
ready to go?
Yeah, being ready. They got to go out there and do their jobs, or if he changed his mind there. But either way, it came out, the right way.
I am a little concerned. The Dolphins last week stopped 2 Josh Allen sneaks. The Steelers got him once today. Josh Allen on the sneak always goes left. I do wonder if there's now kind of a book out on how to defend it. You can't stop it because Josh Allen's just ridiculously strong. But teams are causing it a problem, and you're not going to go away from it. Maybe Josh Allen goes to the right one time.
They're setting up the Chiefs. That's what they're doing.
That's what they're doing.
They're setting up the Chiefs.
All right, let's get into the Chiefs then. Number one, though, injuries is the big question. And let me put this on you. I'll let you think about it for a second here. All the guys that are question marks going into this game, guys who didn't play in this game, Russell Douglas, Gabe Davis, Tyrell Dodson.
Who aren't the question marks going into this game?
That's not the question I'm asking you, though. Terrell Bernard got hurt in this game. Taron Johnson, concussion. I think he's going to be okay, or at least evaluated for head injury. Of all of those, who's the guy that you think the Bills most need to get back, especially among the group that we think have a good chance to get back? There's a report that Terrell Bernard does not have a fracture. That's good. But you think a guy who gets carted off doesn't play the next week?
Yeah, if we're counting out Terrell Bernard, I'd probably say Russell Douglas, just because, the Chiefs' passing game hasn't been stellar. It hasn't been the Chiefs of old. But you don't want to give Patrick Mahomes someone to pick on. For as great as Kyrie Irving played at times today, you know that's someone they're going to go at. So Russell Douglas being back there, it seemed like, the reports we were hearing, or, maybe had a chance to play. I think Douglas being back would be a big thing, and Benford leaving the game as well. So the cornerback situation, I think, is by far the one where you would want to have the guys back.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. I think that is the right answer. Gabe Davis would be big. There's a lot of things he brings to the offense, and obviously would be able to contribute that. But I think, if the Bills want to be healthy at a spot or with a player, it is Douglas and or the cornerback spot. Because I'll tell you what, the team that the Bills won this game with, I don't think they win next week's game with. They need players healthy that were not healthy in this game.
It is a weird situation as we go into this Chiefs game, because both of the strengths are kind of going to be on the field at the same time, the Bills' offense and the Chiefs' defense, whereas, the other half of it, the Chiefs' offense, shaky as all get out, the Bills' defense, injured. It's been playing well, but those are two question marks out there. So it's weird how, a couple years ago, it was the Chiefs' offense versus the Bills' offense. Now it's flipped the script a little bit.
And the problem with that for the Bills is that in that weak side, the Chiefs still have Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
And if it's him against this banged-up unit that finished the game, like I said, I think the Chiefs win. If it's the Bills' defense that started the Dolphins game last week, I think the Bills are the team that wins, especially with this game being at home. It's going to be an awesome week, though. Of all the matchups to get in the playoffs, this is not the Super Bowl, but boy, it's going to feel just as big. It's Josh Allen, it's Patrick Mahomes, and I know Bills fans are excited to get that game here in Orchard Park for once. I don't know if they expect Patrick Mahomes to melt or something, but regardless, it's going to be a fantastic game, and I can't wait for this matchup.
Well, Dorothy isn't herself leaving Kansas.
That's
Patrick
true.
Mahomes isn't himself leaving Kansas City.
So Patrick Mahomes is in black and white in Kansas City, and here in Buffalo he'll be in full color. Is that how we're going with this?
I think so, yeah.
All right. We will explore the Wizard of Oz analogy more as the week goes on. As always, remember, you can watch Buffalo Gameday Recap at RochesterFirst.com on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and on Spotify. You cannot watch it there. Obviously, you just listen to podcasts. For AJ Feldman, I'm Thad Brown. We will talk to you next week, right back here in Orchard Park. The Bills and the Chiefs, Part 3. Can't wait for that one. See you then.